Hey there, Eli coming at you again from the fish rooms of OSA Coventry, here today to show off one of my favorite freshwater fish. These are a medium-sized fish that can either go in a community tank or some of your more aggressive tanks, and that is these beautiful Severums behind me right here. These Severums here happen to be red spot gold Severums, which are one of my favorite varieties. They're something that we have in some of our larger display tanks at all of our stores. They're a really good addition to just about any larger aquarium. Like I mentioned earlier, these guys kind of borderline that balance between being a community fish and being a semi-aggressive larger species of fish. I've had really good results with keeping these fish with some of your larger bodied tetras. If you wanted kind of a calmer, more community style aquarium, you could keep these with large, maybe Buenos Aires tetras, redfin tetras, rainbow fish, and any of these other larger schooling fish with quite good success, as long as there's not too many other aggressive fish in this tank. Oftentimes, the Severums are a really peaceful, mid-swimming addition just to add some cool ambiance to the tank and to add a really larger presence. And one of my favorite things about the Severums is that they become so accustomed to their owners. They're kind of like puppy dogs when you get home. They greet you at the front of the glass and they're always begging for food out front and ready for attention. So they're just a fun little rewarding fish to keep. And if the community tank is not your style setting to have in your home, they can also be kept in some of your more aggressive setups. So these are truly a South American cichlid. They are kind of more closely related to things like angelfish, keyhole cichlids, and discus, some of those more peaceful South American fish. However, these really do hold their own in some of those larger, more aggressive setups. I've seen these kept really well with blue acaras, sometimes Oscars, and larger geophagus, and they can even be kept with some of your more aggressive things, your red devils, parrotfish, Midas cichlids sometimes, as long as they are adequately size matched, as long as there's enough room in the tank, and as long as there are some hiding spots that these fish can call their own. They generally will get along in these more aggressive setups as well, and I've even seen them mixed with the right variety of African cichlids as well. For this reason, they tend to be a really cool utilitarian all-around fish for your larger sized freshwater aquariums. Most of your varieties of Severum are going to cap out at about 8, 9, maybe 10 inches. I have seen certain Severums push about a foot in size. However, that generally would require them to be 10, 12 years old, and that is something that you don't always see in the aquarium setting. That being said, I would plan on having at least a 75, 90-gallon aquarium if you wanted to keep a couple of these, and the larger, the better when it comes to your aquarium, just to make sure that you're gonna have enough luck with them long term. On occasion, if you do desire to have a more peaceful setup with these fish, they can be kept with certain plants. But keep in mind, like a lot of your other South American cichlids, they will nip at certain species of plant. So if you desire to do something of that effect, I would say keeping them with more rugged plants like Amazon swords, Java fern, Bulbitis ferns, and Anubias would be really good options to keep with these fish. A lot of your less palatable and stronger stemmed plants are going to be most appropriate to keep with this fish, just to make sure that they're not getting picked at. Like I mentioned earlier, max size is often gonna be 8, 9, maybe 10 inches, or a little bit longer if you're really lucky. So planning around that is very important. As for pH and temperature requirements, they are pretty mid-range. They do appreciate somewhere near 7 for pH, but can go a little below or a little above with pretty decent success. And for the most part, most of the time when you see these in the store, they are going to be captive bred animals. This red spot gold Severum is an entirely man-made variety of this fish, so they tend to be a little bit hardier than, say, some of your wild-caught strains, and therefore they are a little bit more hardy to differences in pH or the like, so they're a little easier to keep in certain other setups that way. In addition to the red spotted golds I have behind me, sometimes you run across super red Severums, which are very similar to this, but more of an orange base with the red spots. We also get green Severums, which are basically a wild type Severum. Rot keel or red shoulder Severums happen to be one of my favorite, and I can give you a look at those in just a moment. They are a really cool wild type Severum that gets a cool red pattern to them with a blue face. And all in all, they all have similar max size and care requirements, and all have a very similar temperament. So they're just about all suitable to those same sort of setups that I described earlier. So all in all, the Severum, whether you're talking the red spotted golds, green Severums, or any of your other varieties of Severum, happen to be a great aquarium fish for freshwater aquariums that are on the larger size. They can go in either really peaceful setups or borderline aggressive setups and do quite well for you. And they're a very long-lived, rewarding, and friendly pet to keep long-term. So Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave me comments, questions, suggestions in the comment section below. And as always, keep it fishy.